Hello everyone, Catweazle here. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the card game, where we're currently playing the Dunwich Legacy campaign. We are on our fourth scenario, the Essex County Express, and our intrepid investigators are Agnes Baker and Jenny Barnes. They have to make their way to the engine car at the right hand side of the train there, because they've got to get the train going, because behind the final set of carriages is a pulsating gate which is trying to pull everything into another dimension. So we have got to get a bit of a crack on and get this engine moving. Just before we start episode 24, yes, minor mistake last turn. I actually readied the monster during the enemy phase. Should have done it in the upkeep phase. I always get this mixed up because I think enemy phase, it's got the word enemy in it. I think like you've got to ready the enemies. You don't. You ready them actually in the upkeep phase. So we could have moved some people in there and we'd have been fine. But as it was, we did something else. So I'll have to try and remember that going forwards. Okay, I think that was the main error from last turn. So what we'll do is we'll get into episode 24, and that means, oh yes, it's going to be the laugh and the chuckle phase. And here we are at the Mythos phase. I believe it is round 45. And the first thing we've got to do is we've got to put a Doom token out. So we're on 2. Remember, the agenda has a limit of 3. So next time it is going to flip. Okay, next up is draw some encounter cards. So Jenny is first. She is our lead investigator. And we've got, oh well, the monsters are coming out now, aren't they? So this is an Acolyte, which isn't too bad. It's got 3 combat, only got 1 health, and it has 2 to evade. Humanoid cultist. Spawn on any empty location. So it's going to go onto an empty location. Forced after Acolyte enters play, place 1 Doom on it. It was only a small sacrifice. We've got to place a Doom on it. But we've got to have a look at an empty location. In fact, we're going to get rid of it. Because we're going to put it on the passenger car here, which is empty. We have to put a Doom on it. And I don't think, though, that triggers until the Mythos phase. I'm just going to have to check that. Hello, I'm back. Yes, that is correct. We have just passed the check Doom threshold part of the Mythos phase. Then we drew an encounter card. Now, the Acolyte didn't say when it put a Doom on it to advance the agenda. It just said you put a Doom on it, which means we wait till the next Mythos phase. So even though we've got 3 Doom on the board at present, we are not advancing the agenda. So hope that's clear. So we've got that there, and we've got him there. We could have done with it advancing because I have an idea it'd got rid of that passenger car. And of course we'd have lost the Acolyte at the same time. But as it is, he isn't a hunter, so we can pretty much leave him there. And as far as his Doom goes, well, it's going to advance next turn anyway, so why bother? Okay, so that was Jenny. We need to pull an encounter card now for Agnes. And, Wizard of the Order. You've got 3 in a row. Combat 4, 2 health, and it's 2 to evade. Spawn any empty location. Well, at least it's not spawning on us. It's got retaliate though, so we'll have to look out for that. Forced at the end of the Mythos phase, place 1 Doom on Wizard of the Order. So this is the end of the Mythos phase, so he's going to get a Doom as well. But again, we don't have any text here saying that it will advance the agenda. So exactly the same as the Acolyte in that respect. Now we need an empty location. Obviously, it can't be the car we're in, can't be the car that the Acolyte's in, and it can't be the car that the Emergent Monstrosity is in. So we'll put it in the one just here. So that's a bit of a pain. In fact, let's move that up. Let's make them all match. There we go. Right, so that is the end of the Mythos phase, and because it's the end of the Mythos phase, so we've got 5 Doom in play, but we're alright until the next Mythos phase. Okay, Mythos phase is over. That means next it is the investigation phase. And here we are at the investigation phase, where Jenny will be going first. Just one thing to note is, I've got the old die out again, because we got a victory point. Yep, we got a victory point for picking up all the clues in the parlour car, so we're on 1 victory point, which is great. And what is Jenny going to do? Well, she's going to move. So, first action, she is going to move into this train car, which means the emergent monstrosity is going to engage with her. We'll put it down here. And I'll move helpless passenger. It's currently in the threat area, but he's not a threat. I'm just putting him off to one side. So we know that we are looking after him, or attempting to. Now, just before we get into the emergent monstrosity, we've got to check what this train car is. So, as you can see, all the same. So we've got to flip it over. And it's another passenger car. Ooh, 4 shroud. That's tough. And it is 1 clue per investigator, which is good. Remember, the quicker we can pick them up, the better. So the less clues that there are in a location, that's good. Train, passenger car is connected to the left and right locations. Forced, after you enter passenger car, you must either discard cards from your hand with at least 2 total... Oh, not combat icons, or take 2 damage. Ooh, that's tough. I don't fancy taking the 2 damage. What we'll do is we'll go down to a player area and we will make a decision. And here we are at a player area, and we're a bit... we haven't got 2 combat icons in our hand, unfortunately. So we're going to have to take 2 damage. And that is going to put her down to 5, which isn't ideal. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. So she is down to 5 health. Right, emergent monstrosity. We've got to deal with it. Now, we can either evade it, or we could try and kill it. And I'm wondering whether we should try and kill it. I think that we will. What we're going to do is we're going to attack it, but we're going to use backstab, which is an event. So, or are we? That'd cost us 3. We are not going to use backstab. If we had a bit more, if we had a few more resources, I would. 1 more resource, in fact, because then we could have spent 2 on streetwise. But I think what we will do is, I think we'll try and evade it, actually. Yes, we'll try and evade it. So, it's 3 to evade. We have got manual dexterity. So, we're going to play that for 2 of these agility icons. We have got 3 already, so that is 5. And then are we going to spend... So that's 5 versus 3. Then we're going to spend 2 of these on streetwise, and that will give us +3. So that is going to be 8. So 2 there, 2 there is 4. Oh no, 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3, that is 8. 8 versus 3. So it's -5 or better. And we get an elder thing. Oh, what's that? It's not more than a -5, it can't be. -3 if you fail, choose and discard a card from your hand. So that's fine, we passed. Whew. Just. Which means this guy is exhausted, and we can put him back up there. So Jenny has given him the runaround. That is great. We spent manual dexterity, but we do get the card back because the test was successful. Not like me to remember. Oh, second action. Pop that down there. And the card we get as a replacement is Liquid Courage. So, cost of 1, willpower icon, item elicit, uses 4 supplies, spend a supply, choose an investigator at your location to heal 1 horror. Then that investigator tests willpower 2. If the test succeeds, he or she heals an additional horror. If the test fails, they discard a card at random from his or her hand. So there we go, that's an asset, so that'll go up there. Good, good. And we've got 1 action left. And I think what she's going to do with her final action is she's going to spend these 2 clues, these 2 resources, and we're going to equip Flashlight. Costs a hand, but machete as in the other hand, so we're all right. We've got we can carry it. It will have 3 supplies, and we're just getting it ready for hoovering up clues. With a shroud of 4, I don't think we'd stand much chance with our last action. So that is our last action. We have put Flashlight into play. All right. Straighten those up. Okay, so that is it for Jenny. Next up, it is Agnes Baker. And here we are with Agnes. She is going to have to spend an action to move. So she is going to go into the passenger car. Now, unfortunately, she doesn't have enough cards in her hand with combat icons. So she's got to lose 2 damage as well. That's going to put her down to 3, which is very bad. We could do with emergency aid or something like that coming to our rescue, but or first aid, something like that, but we shall see. Right, she has moved. Remember, the emergent monstrosity is has been evaded. So we've got 2 actions left. Let's get back to the player area. Tell you what I've got to do. We've got to put 2 of those on here. And then we'll get back to the player area. And here we are at Agnes's player area. Now I've brought the passenger car down and the 2 clues. What we're going to do is, for her second action, is we're going to use Flashlight when we investigate. So that's going to reduce the shroud by 2, so it's now got a shroud value of 2. We have got an intellect value of 2, so we need a 0 or better is what we require. Do we have anything that will help? We're going to spend 2 more of our resources for arcane studies, and that's going to give us an extra 2. So that is 4 intellect versus a shroud of 2 because of Flashlight. So we need a -2 or better. Come on. And we get a -4. We missed by 2. Oh, but that's okay. I think... Oh, no, it isn't. I didn't leave enough. I've only got like 1 resource. Oh, damn it. So, yes, we didn't do it. Oh, what a nightmare. Right, for our last action, we're going to try again. But we're going to spend another Flashlight. So it's 2 versus 2 again. And we're going to spend our last resource to make it 3 versus 2. Oh, just didn't have enough resources. Need a -1 or better. And we get a -2. Oh, not good. Not good, people. I don't think there's anything I could do there either. I mean, I could have thrown scrying at it, I suppose, or whatever. But yeah, that costs 2. Ooh. So, and in fact, we couldn't have done it because of the resource situation. If I'd only spent 1 resource and left 2 there, that -4, that'd have been, we'd have missed it by 3, and we wouldn't have been able to play Look What I Found anyway. So that's a bit of a downer, and we wasted 2 of our flashlight batteries, and we haven't picked up any of those clues, so this is a bad round. Okie dokie, right, that is it for the investigation phase. Next up, it is the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase. So none of them have got the hunter keyword, and there's no enemy who is engaged that will attack us. So that is fine for the enemy phase. Let's move into the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. Apologies, the sun's gone in, so I've had to turn the lights on. Right, first things first, we've got to ready any exhausted cards, and that means the good old monstrosity. Now, he's got 2 investigators at his location. Who's he going to go after? We get to choose. I think, as far as evasion goes, it's going to go to Jenny, and she's going to do her best to evade that. It's a pity about backstab. We just don't have enough resources, unfortunately, so I think what we'll do is just try and evade it. But for the time being, it is actually engaged with us now. Okay, so that is refreshed cards dealt with. Next up, it is actions, so we get all those back. Give Agnes hers back. And then it is just pulling cards, isn't it? So, ooh, not encounter cards. Don't want to pull them. So we've got a card for Jenny, and she gets hard knocks. This is a good card. Costs 2, it's an asset. It's got a combat icon and a agility icon. Talent. Fast, free action. You can spend 1 resource, you get +1 combat for the skill test, or exactly the same and get +1 agility. So that's pretty good. Pop that there. It's Jenny, so she gets 2 resources. Pop them there. We've got to pull a card for Agnes. She gets leather coat, and this has a combat icon. It's an asset. You can play it for free. Well, cost you an action. Item armour. The coat was not the most fashionable choice, but it did feel warm and reassuring in its bulk, and that gives you 2 health. We might have to put that into play, to be honest, because I think we are struggling. You're going to have to move these down. I haven't got enough room for the supplies. Oh, I'll do that off camera in a bit. Okay, so there we go. Oh, she gets a resource, sorry. Right, I think that is it for round 45. So what I'll do is I'll go and upload this, and then I'll be back shortly with round 46. And here we are at round 46, and it's the laugh and the chuckle phase. So that means one thing, it means doom. So pops a doom on there. Now we've got 5 doom on the board now, and now is when we check the agenda. So the agenda has only got a limit of 3, so the agenda will flip. We get rid of all of this doom. So it all disappears. We'll pop that back in the supply. Then what we do is we flip over the agenda. Don't stop, agenda 2B. The next train car is ripped backwards with a violent force. A middle-aged man hangs from his fingertips as the car flies unhindered towards the rift. In moments the car is consumed whole and the man lets go rather than be pulled into the void. He starts to fall, but is caught by the rift's force and pulled inside it anyway. Remove the leftmost location from the game, goodbye Mr. Acolyte, or put it in the victory display if it has victory points and no clues on it. Each investigator at that location is defeated. Each enemy and asset at that location is discarded. Discard all clues controlled by the investigators. Coolness. So we get rid of the Acolyte, he's discarded, and we get rid of the passenger car as well. Put that over here. It didn't have a victory point on it, so we don't have to do anything else. And then we pick another agenda. So the next agenda along, agenda 3A. So the skull tokens are -3 now. Rolling backwards. The pull of the rift in the sky seems to grow stronger, and the entire train begins to roll backwards along the tracks. The rearmost cars of the train begin to rattle, the force of the rift threatening to detach them. You must get out of these cars as fast as you can. Dun, dun, dun. And this has got a limit of 4 doom, which is a little better. Okay, right, so that is the agenda dealt with. Now it is encounter cards. So first up it'll be Jenny as our lead investigator. She gets an encounter card and she gets Mysterious Chanting Hex Treachery card. Revelation. Place 2 doom on the nearest cultist. Oh, God, no. There are no cultist enemies in play. Search the encounter deck and discard the pile for a cultist enemy to draw it. Shuffle the encounter deck. We do have a cultist enemy. It is the Wizard of the Order who has the cultist keyword. So that is 2 doom. Already we're at 2 doom. It's not too bad, I suppose. It is pretty bad, but if we can get in there and kill him, obviously those 2 doom will go away. But we're struggling to get out of this passenger car. That high shroud is really doing us in, even with flashlight. Oh, right, okay. So that is the encounter card for Jenny. The encounter card for Agnes. Terror from Beyond, Treachery, Hex, Terror, Peril. This means you can't have a chat with any of your fellow players, but it's just me, so we're fine. Revelation. Choose one of the following card types, asset, event, or skill. Oh no. Each player must discard each card in his or her hand that is of the chosen card type. If this is not the first copy of Terror from Beyond drawn this phase, choose 2 card types instead. Oh, we've only got assets and events. Oh, can we choose skills? I don't think we can, you know. I think we've got to choose from what we've got out. Oh, God. I don't want to discard assets or events. Hang on, I'm just going to check the rules. Won't be a minute. Hello, I'm back. Oh, we've looked out. We have looked out. We can choose the skill. We can choose skills. The reason is that's why it's got peril on it, because only you are supposed to know your own cards. So you'd have to make the decision without, you know, your fellow players knowing. But as a solo player, we have no skills and we are allowed to pick skills. Funnily enough, I had to go onto BGG to look it up, and Matt Newman, who's one of the designers of the game, he actually mentions in there it's just one of the times that a solo player gets a break. So nice one, Matt. Love you, mate. So we pick skills. We haven't got skills. We get away with it. Oh, that was close. I wouldn't have liked to. We obviously wouldn't have got rid of 6 assets, so we'd have had to get rid of 4 of these events. And they're all good cards. I don't want to lose any of them. So, yes, we lucked out a little bit there. Okay, so that is the end of the Mythos phase. Next up, it is the investigation phase. And here we are in the investigation phase, and yes, it's going to be Jenny. Jenny's got to deal with the emergent monstrosity, and she's going to try and evade it. So it's currently 3 versus 3, but we're going to spend these 2 resources and our first action to try and evade, because we're using streetwise, so that'll give us +3. So that is now 6 versus 3. Is there anything else we're going to chuck at it? No, it's just going to be 6 versus 3. Come on. And we get a 0. Awesome. So this can go back up there. It is exhausted. So we've managed to give it the run around again, but the big thing now is can we actually pick up any of these clues? And we're going to use a supply of flashlight to investigate. That'll put the shroud down to 2. So we've now got 3 intellect versus 2 shroud. We need a -1 or better. Is there anything we can do? Don't particularly want to chuck anything of ours at it. Is there anything that Agnes can commit? Now, Agnes could commit, look what I found, but she wants to use that herself, I think. So yeah, we'll just give it 3 versus 2. 3 versus 2. We need a -1 or better. Come on, another 0 would do. A -2. Damn it. So that was our second action. And yes, we're going to try again. So again, it's going to be 3 versus 2. So we need a -1 or better. Come on. Let's be having it. A 0. Yes. So we got one of the clues. Oh, I had to get rid of 2. Get rid of these 2 clues. I should have got rid of them when the agenda went over. Sorry about that. And let's pick one of these. So we've picked up one of the clues. Whew, thank God for that. We just need 1 clue now. That is all we need. Okay, next up it will be Agnes. And here we are with Agnes, done it a sensible way this time, by moving the actual passenger car down so we can see it. So we've got that last clue and we're going to try and find it. So just going to use her final supply on flashlight. That is going to move the shroud down to 2. We are going to use our final resource on arcane studies. That'll give us +1. So that is 3 versus 2. Oh, we won't be able to use this. Oh. Well, we don't need 2 clues now, we just need 1. So we're going to make it 5 versus 2. We're going to commit this, yeah? We're not using it as an event card, we're just committing it for its 2 intellect icons. So that's 2, 4, 5, 5 versus 2. Oh, come on. Get this last clue. 5 versus 2. And we get an elder sign. What a time to pick an elder sign. Get in. And let's just check. +1 for each horror on Agnes Baker. She has got 1 horror, so it's a +1. And we get rid of that. It might have come in another passenger car, but that we were desperate. We were desperate for this because of that high shroud. So we've got another clue, and that means we can move. That was her first action. And we'll put passenger car back. And I'm wondering whether to move now. If we move into the next train car, then the Wizard of the Order will engage with us, and then we've got 1 attack. We have Fire Axe. If you have no resources in your resource pool, this deals +1 damage, which is good because we need 2 damage and we've got no resources. But what can we rustle up as regards combat? It's 4, the Wizard of the Order. We are 2. So that is not enough. That is not enough. So I tell you what we'll do, we will not move. We've still got Stray Cat, so we can use Stray Cat next round and automatically evade the emerging monstrosity, can't we? And then everybody will have loads of actions in order to kill the Wizard of the Order in the next train carriage. So I think we will do that. Yes, we'll do that. So what's she going to do for a second action now? Well, she's not moving or anything. Let's put Leathercoat up. So at least that gives her 2 extra health, because remember she's down on 3, so that helps. And a final action. A resource or a card. I'll tell you what, we'll pull a card, I think. So we'll pull a card. And the reason we're not moving is obviously the Wizard of the Order isn't exhausted, so it automatically engages. So yeah, we'll do it this way, I think. And the card we get is Drawn to the Flame. This is good. Why couldn't I got that before? Not to no cost to play it. It's an event. It's got a willpower and an intellect. Drawn to the Flame, insight. Draw the top card of your encounter deck. Then discover 2 clues at your location. Yes, we've seen this before. Brilliant card. This would be really useful. It would have been useful to get out of this particular train carriage a lot earlier, but we've got it now, so that's good. And yes, if we move into the carriage with the wizard, then perhaps we'll be able to use it in there and get a few clues and then move on. Yeah, good card, like it a lot. So that was our final action. So we managed to get those 2 clues from that particular passenger car. We've been doing a good job of avoiding that emerging horror. And yes, we're ready to move next turn, and not a moment too soon. We are running out of time. Okay, that is it for the investigation phase. Next up is the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase. Again, we don't have any enemies with Hunter, and there's got no enemies that are actually engaged with us, so we are fine. We can move straight on to the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. Okay, so emergent horror, monstrosity, sorry, is going to come back. And I think this time, I don't think it matters who it goes to, you know, as regards using Stray Cat, because we're at the same location. But I think it's going to go after Agnes this time. So it's been running round after Jenny. It's thinking she's much too much of a slippery customer, so it's going to have a go at Agnes instead. The plan with Agnes is she will discard Stray Cat, automatically evade it, and will pop across. That allows Jenny to go first to move, because there are no clues on the location anymore. She can move into the next car and hopefully take care of this bloody Wizard of the Order, and that will get rid of 2 Doom that we need getting rid of. And I think Jenny's our best chance to kill it, so that's what we'll do. Okay, having refreshed that, it's actions, so these can go back. And Agnes's, there we are. And then it is cards, so a card for Jenny, and she gets pickpocketing, cost of 2, an asset. It's an agility icon, always come in handy. Talent illicit, as a reaction, after you evade an enemy, exhaust pickpocketing and draw a card. Oh, very good. Not so sure how useful it'll be, but we'll put it there. Oh, it's an asset. That means it goes up here. There we are. And 2 resources. Pop those over there. And next up, it's Agnes. She gets a card. And Agnes gets Holy Rosary. So don't really need this. I might swap this card out next time, but cost of 2, asset, willpower icon, item charm, you get +1 willpower. Whether focused through the mundane trinket or a mystical artifact, there is real power in faith all the same. Dun, dun, dun. So that's an asset, we'll put it up here. And she also gets a resource. So there we are. Okay. Yes, that went pretty well. I don't think there's anything else to do in the upkeep phase. Yes, that went pretty well. So it was close. We needed to get those 2 clues. That Shroud of 4 was really difficult. We've pretty much used up our flashlights. Agnes's is dead, and there's 1 charge left on Jenny's. But we got them. We got them, so that is good. We've got Drawn to the Flame now. That should help us pick up clues. We had to get rid of Look What I Found, unfortunately, but we were desperate for that last clue, and we got it, so we'll count that as a win. And yeah, we're just going to have to avoid this emergent monstrosity, get into the next train car, and kill the Wizard of the Order. Anything, if we can move to the next train car, which is the one behind the engine car, I'm just going to count it as a win, because that'll be the farthest I've ever got. But the other good thing is, of course, we do have a victory point, so that's okay. It's a pity we cannot kill this emergent monstrosity. We just don't have the resources for it. We could use backstab and then, you know, the machete and everything, but yeah, I don't think we've really got the time. We're not particularly tooled up for it. If we had a lot of resources on Jenny, then, you know, she could really go to town on it, but I don't think we can really afford to do that, so we're just going to avoid it, and it doesn't have the hunter keyword, so it can't follow us, and we'll just let the rift take care of the emergent monstrosity. Other than that, we've still got our helpless passenger. He's still part of the crew, and he's still alive, so that's great. And as far as health and sanity goes, we're pushing it a bit on the health, which is why I put leather coat up. And hopefully we don't get too many of these passenger cars where, you know, we're going to have to get rid of health. First aid hasn't come up. We've still got quite large decks here, so, you know, they could be right down near the bottom. So we can't count on getting a card that will be able to heal us, unfortunately. So that just means busy, busy, busy. Let's get along this train. Alright, so that is it for episode 24. And thank you for watching. Thanks for all the views, thanks for all the subscriptions, thank you for all the likes, for all the dislikes, and thank you for all the help and support. If you've noticed any errors, there's probably errors in abundance, please point them out and I will try and fix them as ever for next episode. If you're watching this over at Board Game Links, thank you very much. And just the same, if you're watching this at Board Game Geek on BGG, the video thread's there. Thank you so much. Anybody who's made any comments here, there, anywhere, thank you. And drop Geek Gold, likes, all that sort of palaver, thank you very much. That is it for episode 24. I do hope you join me for episode 25, but until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.